Hey, Mama of Three. Tonight I'm just going to go over a case that has been solved. This guy, Mandel, he ended up unaliving a woman, and it's, 30 years later now it's finally been solved? It's crazy. It's a Canadian case. Nobody covers Canadian cases at all, at least for when I look for Canadian cases, like True Crime Canada or anything like that. I don't see anything. It doesn't really pop up in my newsfeed on Google or anything else. Anything like that. It's strange. So I don't know. I kind of want to get into it. Be nice to know what the heck's going around in my country, right? All right. I've got an article. I'm just going to read a movie. We can watch the news after. All right. So this guy's name is Cold Case Killer. Takes a stand almost 30 years after murder. Like, they're getting good with this DNA. It took forever, but I'm glad that things are being solved. And there she is. Her name is Barbara Brodkin. I believe this was in Toronto. Yeah, she was 41, found by her son, fatally stabbed on March 19th, 1993. That would be... I wouldn't want my son finding me like that. I couldn't imagine any child finding their mother like that. It says almost 3 decades after her little boy. That's so sad. That's so heartbreaking. Trigger warning. Almost 3 decades after her little boy found Barbara Brodkin beaten and stabbed in her bedroom closet, the man finally arrested for her murder took the stand. And what a tale he told. Oh, I bet. Flustered and emotional, the 69-year-old Charles Mustard insisted he didn't unalive the single mom all those years ago. Bullshit. Hey, Autistic. Hey, Sunshine and Rain. I wouldn't leave honestly, Sunshine, I wouldn't leave the hotel either. Toronto scares the hell out of me. It really does. I haven't been there since I was 28. Yeah, 10 years ago. About that. I won't go back. My family want to visit me. They can visit me. I'm not going up there again. No way. It is sad. And this is his quote. It says, "She was a very nice person," he repeated frequently at his judge-alone trial. "She was my friend." Enter gentle questioning by defense lawyer Bob Richardson. Mustard said a friend introduced him to Brodkin, and she told him she sold him small amounts of weed at her Balliol Street apartment, and the last time he saw her, he'd slathered up a big joint to share and talked about her troubles with her ex-husband, Christopher Berry. Berry, who died in 2009, was initially the police's prime suspect in her slaying, and the man the defense plans to suggest was the real unaliver. "Did you unalive Barbara Brodkin?" the lawyer asked. "No, I did not," said the slight man. "I remember she was alive when I left." Nah. Mustard maintained he didn't have money problems in 1993 and was insulted at the suggestion. He stole Broderick's money and drugs from her closet, as prosecutors allege. Apparently he was screaming, "No, no," Mustard exclaimed. "Barbara was a very nice lady." But how to explain his DNA found under her fingernails, nails that had remained in storage until 2017, when advances allowed for sophisticated DNA testing. So this happened in 1993, and they had that all the way until 2017. That's what he looked like then. There he is now. So he was charged in first-degree murder in the 1993 death of Barbara. Good. He looked like the younger photo. He creeps me out. This one here, he could pass as a teacher or something. You know what I mean? Forensic biologist Jennifer McLean testified It was 1 trillion times more likely that the mixed sample they found under the nails of the victim's 2 hands came from Brodkin and Mustard than if it originated from Brodkin and an unknown male unrelated to him. Court heard Brodkin's ex had assaulted and threatened her in the past, and even told a friend he wanted to stage a nonviolent break-in when she was away to steal her cache of drugs and cash and hurt her financially. Really? But his DNA was nowhere in her apartment, and not under her fingernails. No, that's because this guy's was. The forensic expert agreed with Crown Kieran Simon that Mustard's profile could have been deposited under her nails if Brodkin was using both hands to scratch and fight off her attacker. Under cross-examination, she also said it's possible it might have happened from saliva from a marijuana cigarette. But how would Mustard's DNA get under the nails on both their hands? Yeah. It's unclear how authorities got the sample from Mustard, though it might have been taken at some point during his self-described despicable criminal record that dates back to 1987 and includes 2 convictions for theft and 3 for SA. Nasty. I'm going to just put my son on the GO train to St. Catharines. So since my birthday the 2nd, I got a VIP room in the stadium. Got sport night restaurant and there's a Leaf game. That's awesome. Hey, Deb. You're making grilled. Oh, I want a girl. Actually, I want a damn grilled cheese. I'm going to make one. Oh my God. I'm sorry you went through anything like that, Sunshine and Rain. I scratched my attacker's face and I thought I was done in for. I wasn't letting him get away. Good for you. Wow, I'm sorry. At the time of the murder, the former teacher. Oh my God, he was a fucking teacher. Oh, wow. How? If he's had 8 counts of SA. What the shit? I haven't even read this yet. I've seen the article and I'm like, I'm going to do this because I don't get to see Canadian cases very often that are being solved or anything like that, right? That's what I said when I looked at his damn photo. That he looks teacher. Holy shit. That's crazy. So at the time of the murder, the former teacher had lost his job at Thornhill School after being charged with 8 counts of SA in Huntsville. Mustard was living in Barrie with his wife, but insisted he wasn't strapped for cash because he was working there at a seafood restaurant. During their often testy cross-examination, Mustard couldn't remember the names of the restaurant or his boss. After police were informed of the DNA results, he was brought into police headquarters on October 18, 2018, under the pretense that they needed him to sign some paperwork. In the foyer, they positioned a large poster of Brodkin asking for information on the cold case. At 4 a.m. the next morning, Mustard was arrested at York Mills bus station. He admitted he never went home after meeting with police, but he wasn't trying to flee, but was determined to get to Casino Rama to honor a friend who died years before. Bull crap. Mustard also told the incredulous prosecutor that no, he didn't even recognize Brodkin from the police poster. The Crown accused him of lying. I'm going to suggest that you follow Mrs. Brodkin into her closet where she sorted her weed, Simon said. You strangled her, you beat her, you forcibly confined her in that closet, and that entire time she was fighting you off with her fingernails. No, Mustard cried. I did not murder Barbara Brodkin. She was my friend. Closing submissions are scheduled for next week. So I have to look for that. First degree murder. I wonder what he got. It was national news. Though it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. But still, holy frick. I agree with you that, yeah. Isn't that crazy? Mama 3? Yeah, he was a damn teacher. Grilled cheese dipped in mustard is the bomb. I might have to try that. Every time I get on here, I'm hungry. I wasn't hungry before it started, but I am now. Phone booth break. Are you? I'm curious now. You're about to make spaghetti? I'm about to eat my couch. There's a short video here, news clipping. I was doing some research on shampoo and conditioner and looking at Wow shampoo and conditioner. I haven't heard of it. I don't know. What is it that you want for your hair, Dragon Mama? My hair, oh, I love touch. It's so soft now. I use Mark Anthony long hair don't care, and I use the cream spray for it, and oh my god, it feels like baby hair. It's so nice. Plus other things. I just had to get a new Velita mop because mine broke. I was mopping tonight and I was going do do do, all of a sudden snap. I was like, seriously? This is the second time now. To grow. Okay, this one has biotin in it. If you take biotin pills and yeah, the stuff that I use for my hair, I find it helps. Your hair is so much softer. It's protected, and I do take the biotin medicine, not medicine, but medication or whatever, and it does help. My nails are growing quite long and everything else. All right, let's watch this.
Sergeant Stacy Gallant
Good morning. Through the years, cold case investigations have advanced in several ways from previous years. One of the many ways was through examination at the time of the offense and examined for the presence of DNA. Once that process has been developed, the next step is to link it to an offender, the offender that's responsible for that crime. Over the years, the Toronto Police Cold Case Unit has been examining cases where there was close contact between Barbara Brodkin's 6-year-old son called 911 from within her apartment, seeking help for his mother, who he believed was deceased. She had been murdered. An extensive investigation took place. During the months, witnesses, examination of evidence, polygraphs, photographs, phone records, banking records, and over 100 persons were interviewed at the time. Her alleged killer was never identified, and the case went cold. Barbara Brodkin was born in Toronto in 1954. She was married in 1983 and later separated from her husband. There's a long list of family across Toronto. She worked various jobs as a secretary or typist while raising her son as a single parent. After 24 years, the case was commenced last August. Additional forensic examinations on evidence collected at the time of the offense were ordered and sent to CFS for DNA examination. The evidence revealed.
Sorry, I just want to stop and check out comments here. I need to retake bio gummies again. Yeah. I started. Okay. Hello, Brian. Brian, you need to throw that Charlie, flush him down the toilet. Thank you, Mama of 3. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. I'm sorry, my cat, she has to be with me 24/7. So I'm petting her and, I don't know, blowing sweet muffins in her ears. I just want to go back to understanding this whole 8 counts of SA. And yet he was a teacher. That doesn't make any sense. So are there, yeah, I don't get that. Okay, where is it? What the hell is it? Yeah, look, like at the time of the murder, the former teacher had lost his job at a Thornhill school after being charged with 8 counts of SA. So I don't know what happened to him. Clearly, wait, is this at the time of the murder? Okay, so yeah, exactly. They excel on that. So we did the 8 counts and then went and finally hurt somebody and took their life. Why does it take 8 counts and yet he's still on the loose? I don't understand that. Hey, Estella. Thank you, Mama 3. Love you too. Thank you so much. Wow, it's a hard time of year for everyone, eh? He said no. Oh, he knows better. Hey, Patty. It takes forever. My best friend used Wow shampoo and conditioner, and she loves it. If I get it, I have to get my son his own. By the way, about the previous debate on what to send you, of course, I had to go with both. For me, Estella? Screw that little prick. Welcome back, Estella. I was on Deb's earlier, her live stream. She was watching some Frostmere ghost videos, and Deb had Charlie Brown like strangling Snoopy, so I had to say something, that little bastard. Charlie can take you. Well, thank you, Estella. You're amazing. Can I have my hand? No? I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
The DNA profile. The donor of that DNA profile has been identified through this investigation. As a result, Charles William Mustard was identified, investigated, and arrested for the murder of Barbara Brodkin. On October 19th, now 63-year-old, at the time 37 years old, Charles William Mustard was arrested and charged with her murder, first-degree murder. Mustard is a current and longtime resident of Toronto. The investigation revealed that they were acquainted in that they did know each other. They were not strangers. Now, 25 years later, the boy who found his mother murdered in their apartment can have some answers. Although there will be a process for this case to work its way through the justice system, at the very least, he can know that we never gave up. The investigative team, the detectives in the cold case unit, forensic identification officers, interview teams, all did a stellar job in putting the case together. There will be many more to come. The first officer who responded to this call back in 1993 was a young officer named Constable Rob Thomas. He first attended the victim's apartment and became part of the investigative team at the time of the original investigation. 25 years later, this same officer, now Thomas, the lead polygraph officer in Toronto, once again became part of this investigative team. He prepared for and became the lead interview officer on the team responsible for conducting the interview of the now accused. I cannot discuss further the interview of the accused outside of the court process. Detective Thomas continued to feel a connection to this case over the years, and he never forgot. Center of Forensic Sciences, the dedicated work of the forensic technologists and the scientists that located the DNA.
I thought I didn't mute. I was like, oh no. He's hooking him. You don't know who to bet on? I don't know. They say I'm crazy. Bahumbug? Don't be a bahumbug. You guys really screwed me over on timing. I was in another live stream with the host not feeling very well, so I was trying to joke and cheer her up. Then Deb is live, then Nikki is live. That's what I was doing. I was over bugging Deb and Charlie.
Years later, fortifies the need for the expertise within the justice community. Our cold case unit continues to work very closely with CFS in efforts to solve as many cases as possible. Today, we are releasing the photograph of Charles Mustard to reach out to those that knew him and Barbara Brodkin back in 1993. It has been many years since this murder, and we are asking persons who knew both Barbara and Charles or Charlie to call us if we have not been in contact with you. More specifically, if your name is Dirk or Linda and you know Barbara and Charlie or Charles, we're asking that you reach out to us and contact us at the Homicide Cold Case Unit at 416-808-7410. Charles Mustard will be appearing in court on Wednesday at College Park Courts via video remand. This is a message that I would send to all those who are waiting, wondering if they will ever be caught for other cold cases that are.
That's one thing with Canada. I don't think we can actually phone in to these things. Like, US is so different. Yeah, it was fun. I was fun. Hey, Brenda. It was fun in your stream, Dad. I was having fun messing with you.
Out there. Note this, we will never give up. We don't, and don't stop looking behind yourself, because you never know when we will come for you. Today, I also have the pleasure of inviting up Herb Brodkin, who is the first cousin of Barbara Brodkin, and to say a few words. Thank you. Please.
Detective Sergeant, speaking for myself and my family, I'd like to thank you and your team for your persistence in leading us to a matter that's going to now be disposed by our justice. To me, I guess on Friday, you gave new meaning to the words that I've always respected, that are the emblem of the Toronto Police Service, and I guess the Metropolitan Toronto Police Force before that. That is to serve and to protect. So impressed by the diligence that went into this effort to now bring this matter before our courts. I had the pleasure of serving as an officer of the court and still am, for over 50 years. Up until recently, I thought cold cases was just something that happened in a TV series in the States. I'm so proud of you folks, all of them. And again, thank you personally on behalf of my family, and I'm sure on behalf of the public. I diligently hope that people who know more about this come forward and assist in this investigation so that not only do we have a result, we have closure to the.
Hey, Brenda Paz. Food fight. All right, you listen, girl. I'm just going to look and see what it says for the description of this video. October 22nd, 2018 at 10 a.m. In the media gallery of Toronto Police Headquarters, Detective Sergeant Stacey Gallant of Homicide. Cold case updated the media on the arrest made in homicide. Hashtag number 13, 1993. Took you all 25 years and he was waiting there. Wow, poor boy. Rest in peace for his mother. Who's Dennis Melvin Hall? How? A lot of these cold cases are blocked, so comments can't be made. People can't leave comments. What if I could solve one? I don't talk, but would probably say a message. What does that mean?
This matter result. Thanks. Thank you.
Any questions to answer?
In 2002 of Charles Mustard, what is that from?
It's a police-related photograph as well.
So he was arrested previously?
He does have prior contact with the police, yes.
His DNA profile, was it acquired at the time of the murder or was it acquired later?
I can't get into the details of the DNA. All I'm willing to say, it is DNA that led to the arrest.
I'm assuming they also don't want to admit that they had the DNA beforehand or something like that because he was convicted of 8 SA crimes already. And that was at the time when he murdered that girl. Yeah, I remember you saying that she is fascinated with Canada. Well, if you want to know anything, I'm sure I'll know it. Our maple syrup is pretty good. I hear it's not good in the US unless it's from Canada. Is that true?
Again, I can't get into it. Located, just that it is DNA that.
He will be in front of the court in this case?
Yes.
Has he remained in contact with the family since?
Has
He's remained in contact with the family. You said you interviewed a large number of witnesses. You said that he was in contact and was a friend of the deceased. Has he remained in contact with the family in any way?
no, no, he's not.
What can you tell us about Dirk and Linda, who you're looking for?
They are persons that we believe were acquainted to both Mr. Mustard and Barbara Brodkin. We are in around that time frame, and they are 2 persons that we're going to follow up with that may have information that can assist in this case. You can imagine over time, 25 years has passed, people move several times in some cases to different cities, to different provinces, even outside the country. Over the course of this investigation the last year, we've been reaching out to numerous people that were pre-interviewed. to get up information from them and to assist in the investigation. There are times where we can't locate people. Even in cases like this, it's been 25 years. There's some people that are no longer with us that have passed on. There are people that moved to other countries. And these are two individuals specifically that we would just like to be in touch with to help advance the case further.
The DNA evidence you had originally, did you obtain new DNA from the man who's just been arrested?
Well, the DNA, I can tell you, DNA was not was not really in the investigation, and very limited back then. It wasn't until the 2000s that DNA started to become more mainstream. And again, in this case, what I would say is that we re-evaluated evidence back at the time, and we submitted things to the Center of Forensic Sciences for DNA examination under today's DNA techniques and testing techniques that resulted in why we're here today.
This cop won't really answer the question, and I feel like he's not answering the question because it's like what I'm saying. It's they knew back then, obviously, about the 8 charges, right? And the 8 assaults he did, and yet he was able to schmurder Brenda. Or Barbara, sorry. That bugs me. Someone said Taco Bell here in my house, so my ears are perking up like it's dog. Mine would too.
How do you get a sample of the accused DNA?
Again, that's not discussed right now. That'll be left to the courts.
Are you looking for anyone or perhaps you have ordered Barbara's death?
This is the only person we're looking for in this investigation at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes today's conference.
She's a sweet mess. I picked her up from school. She said, my car is vintage. I said, no, I got it a couple years ago. She said, they must have lied to you about the year. I love kids at that age. It reminds me of myself even. I just, no filter. Yeah, that's why you love that age. They speak their minds exactly. My mom used to look at me sometimes and go, Nikki, because I don't know, I just didn't have a filter. Stuff I asked, I guess, was kind of out there, or I shouldn't have said. I'm like, I'm sorry. Should have taught me better, woman. There's this channel I watch on YouTube all the time, and it's called Criminally Listed. And there's one episode they did, and it actually happened to do with Canada. There's 5 unsolved cases, so I wanted to watch that as well with you guys. My cat's using my hand as a pillow, and my arm as a bed, so I can't even move. Yeah, this one's called 5 Haunting Unsolved Canadian Mysteries. In honor of Canada's 150th, this is 5 years ago. In honor of Canada's 150th birthday, these are 5 of the most haunting, disturbing, unsolved mysteries from the Great White North. I hate how they turn the comments off. Septic Tank Sam Leah Sousa, Michael Kent, the Paul's family, and the children from Montreal. That's creepy. I have my dog laying my legs. She's about to be real mad when I get up to make dinner. I know, I have to go to the phone booth. I'm gonna try and wait as long as I can. I don't want to move very fast.
Septic tank Sam. April 13th, 1977 was a warm day in Tewfield, Alberta, which is a small town that had a population of about 1,200 people. On that day, local resident Charlie McLeod was installing a new septic tank on his property. He needed a pump, and he decided to use the pump from a septic tank that was behind an abandoned farmhouse on his property. He took the cover off the tank, and when he looked in, he saw a foot sticking out of the water. McLeod ran to his house and called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which often goes by the acronym RCMP. Officers with the RCMP arrived at the property a short time later, and using ice cream pails, they scooped awful smelling water out of the septic tank. After about an hour of scooping, they found a body. The body was wrapped up in a yellow blanket and tied up with a nylon rope. The body was then dropped headfirst into the septic tank, which was 5 feet 9 inches deep. Lye had also been poured on the body to hurry its decomposition. The medical examiner determined that the pipe before it was found. Due to the lye, the amount of ID on him and the what they do know about Sam is that he died a horrible death. First, he had been tied to a bed and beaten. Then, he was burned with a butane torch and cigarettes. Next, he was sexually mutilated. Finally, he was shot at least twice, once in the chest and once in the head. When he died, Sam was wearing a blue Levi's shirt that had snap buttons, white t-shirt, handed with dark hair, and he was either white. He was about 28 years old, around 1949. Based on tests on his bones, experts think that he probably suffered a serious illness at the age of 5. Lastly, he probably worked as a laborer, and the RCMP that he was a transient. Due to the brutality of the crime, the RCMP thought that the killer or killers knew the victim. I think that the killer was local, or she knew that there was a septic tank behind the farmhouse, which only had been abandoned for 2 years when the body was found. The thought that the killer could be a local resident they saw and spoke to every day could have been the person responsible for the gruesome murder. The RCMP put a lot of time and energy into trying to figure out the identity of Septic Tank Sam. They have spent over $1 million on the case and have had the body exhumed twice. He was compared to over 250 missing persons reports, and his dental records were sent to over 800 dentists in Canada. Despite all their efforts, the RCMP are no closer to identifying the body, and without knowing Sam's true identity, figuring out who killed him is next to impossible. The detective who originally worked on the case doubts that it will ever be solved, and Sam will never be identified. Number 4, Lee Sousa.
That is horrible. I don't even think we have a Mexican restaurant around here. I really don't. Not near me, anyways. Blueberry waffles are your favorite? They ruin the waffle makers? Oh. Yours is not dead yet. That's crazy. So I guess we'll probably never find out, right? What happened to him? That was crazy. All that torture. Oh my God. I agree. Somebody obviously local did it because they knew about that septic tank.
Canada, school resumes on the Tuesday after Labor Day, which is the first Monday of September. On Labor Day weekend of 1990, 13-year-old Lee Sousa of Cumberland Beach, Ontario, was enjoying her last days of vacation, and she was looking forward to starting high school in just a few days. In the early morning Saturday, September 1st, Lee was asleep in her house, along with her 36-year-old mother, Laura Sousa, and her 9-month-old brother, Michael. Some between 8 and 3 a.m., a man broke the glass on the back of the family's home and let himself inside. He attacked Laura, striking her multiple times in the head with a blunt object. He stabbed her and then dragged her into the backyard. He beat the same metallic object that was used to strike her mother. The next morning, a young friend of Lee's house to see if she wanted to hang out. She found Lee's body in the backyard and ran for help. The police and the paramedics arrived shortly afterwards. Laura was taken to the hospital, and luckily Michael was found unharmed in his crib. Sadly, Lee died in the backyard. Laura was hospitalized for nearly a month, but she ultimately survived the attack. The police believe that Laura saw her daughter's killer she received. She couldn't remember anything from that night. Over the years, Laura has tried various techniques to try to remember the attack. This included undergoing hypnosis, which is also known as truth serum, and finally, she saw an expert who used magnetic fields to tickle her brain cells. Sadly, none of it worked. Instead, Laura sometimes has flashes from that night, but she can't remember anything about her daughter's killer. In the ensuing decades since the murder, I've interviewed over 1,800 people. One person they talked to several times was a man named Brian Elson, who lived in nearby Brechin, Ontario. 4 months after Lee Sousa was killed, Elson stabbed to death 17-year-old Sandra Bannister in Orillia, Ontario, which is less than 8 miles away from Cumberland Beach. He pleaded guilty to manslaughter, and he was only sentenced to 6 years in prison. In 2010, the television news program, W5, did a story on Lee's murder. During their investigation, they learned that Elson's grandmother lived down the road from the Sousas. And at the time of the murder, Elson was staying with his grandmother. A reporter with W5 tracked down Elson to his home in Orillia, and she asked him about the murder of Lee Sousa. He denied being the killer, and he said that he wasn't at his grandmother's home on the night of the murder. He said that he was at a party in a different town, and he had 60 witnesses to verify his alibi. As a result, he was never charged with the murder of Lee Sousa. Laura Sousa says that even though she can't remember the night that her daughter was murdered, thoughts about that night still torment her. Laura isn't the only one who's mentally scarred from what happened that night. The police who investigated the murder and the reporters who covered it say that over 25 years later, they are still haunted by it. They are all hoping that one day there will be a break in the case and the killer will be brought to justice. Number 3.
My computer froze. The hell happened?
Disinfected.
Wait, what?
Adding Lysol.
Oh, computer's going all ape now, of course.
Number 3.
You need to go and eat? Alrighty. Last time I had waffle maker, I put blueberries in the batter and I couldn't get the waffle maker clean. It wouldn't come off. Light blue. Yeah, light blue. I think regular where'd that go to? I think regular waffles with homemade blueberry syrup sounds safer. I can't imagine trying to get caramelized blueberry off a waffle iron. Yeah. It burned on it and wouldn't come clean? Oh, crap. You must be lucky then, Patty. I don't use many at most on top, so maybe I've just... Oh, maybe. Of course you can. You're freaking Betty Crocker, Teresa. Yesterday, it was pretty bad for the internet and everything. It just kept cutting in and out. And then not only that, I lost power a few times. So I have my candles out, and I'm just like, great, really? That would suck because it's winter, no heat. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take a chance to ruin it either. My son's playing games. That's probably, if you hear anything, big mouth. Big mouth like his mama.
Michael Kent. February 11th, 1966 was an evening in Nickel, Ontario. The family drove to in the nearby village of Elmvale because one of their sons, John, was playing hockey. It was snowing that evening, but nothing too serious. The Kents brought all 4 of John's siblings, and this included 6-year-old Michael. The arena was busy that night, and cars were constantly going in the parking lot. Before the game, Mr. Kent helped John in the dressing room, while Mrs. Kent went and sat in the stands with 3 other children. As the game started, the Kents realized that Michael was missing. The arena was searched, and Michael's little body was found lying outside beside a hydro pole near the parking lot. His chest and his back were covered in blood, and he wasn't conscious. His parents rushed him to the local doctor's office. His parents told the doctor that they thought he had been hit by a car. When the doctor removed Michael's coat, he made a startling discovery. Michael had not been hit by a car. He had been stabbed 3 times in the abdomen and 4 times in the back. Sadly, it was too late for Michael, and he died before the doctor could help him. The police searched the arena, and on the roof they found the murder weapon. It was a 4-inch steel fishing knife. The brutal murder horrified the quiet village. Violent crimes, especially murder, were rare in Elmvale, which had a population of 2,000 people. It was a village where people didn't lock their doors, and parents let their children walk to the arena unsupervised. But that all changed after Michael's murder. The police had over 50 suspects in the case, but no arrests have ever been made. What baffled the police and the community is why would someone do that to a 6-year-old? The murder appears to be completely motiveless. Michael was only missing for a few minutes before he was found mortally wounded. The police aren't sure if Michael was somehow lured from the arena or if he was physically forced outside. Once the killer had Michael outside, he stabbed him 3 times in the abdomen and then held his face down in the mud and stabbed him 4 more times in the back. Michael didn't show any signs of being sexually assaulted. What disturbs so many people about the case is why would the killer risk stabbing Michael in such a public place? The police interviewed over 120 people who were at the arena that night. Despite so many people being at the arena, no one saw anything suspicious. Over the years, tips have come in, and the police have followed up on them, but they are no closer to naming a culprit than they were 5 decades ago. The police say that the case is still open, but unless someone comes forward, the murder that shook Elmvale will probably never be solved. Number 2, the Pauls family.
Oh my God. That's horrible. No, I'd rather you guys deflect from it because it's such a. These are horrible. I have electric stove. Polished or raw? Raw. Yeah. He's in there yelling at his game playing hockey. Nikki covers very interesting subjects, but they're so dark it's sickening. The chat helps. Yeah, I figured it still. That's why I was like, no, I'll take over. Well, the knife and then the hand with the blood on it. Oh my God. The one thing I don't like, though, about this channel is they turn the comments off. How are you guys supposed to say anything? Because you know what? If you don't want to come forward, you can always make up an alias, say something, and then that tip can go to the police and, something might be able to be done about it, right? Why would you turn the comments off? I don't like that. I can't leave a comment to ask that because there's no comment section. It sucks. Who knows? Maybe with me playing these videos and stuff, something might come of it. That would be nice.
It's September 1956. The Pauls family, which consisted of David and Helen and their daughter Dorothy, moved from Aldergrove, British Columbia, to a quiet street in Vancouver, British Columbia. The family lived a quiet life, but they were known to be friendly. In June 1958, David was 52, and he worked days at a warehouse, and Helen was 45, and she worked evenings at a deli. Dorothy was 11 years old, and the kids at her school described her as shy. Around 11:30 on the night of June 10th, Helen at the bus stop because it was raining. When he walked out the back basement door, he was surprised by a gunman who shot him once in the head. The shooter then used David's keys and let himself into the house. He went upstairs and found Dorothy asleep in her bed. With a heavy blunt object, he bludgeoned her to death. He then went back to the basement and dragged David inside. Despite being shot in the head, David wasn't dead. The man proceeded to beat him with the blunt object, and then he shot him 2 more times in the head. The man then went back upstairs to Dorothy's room and removed her pajama bottoms. However, he didn't sexually assault her. Instead, the killer waited for Helen to walk into the house. When she did, he attacked her in the front hall. Helen was beaten with the blunt object and shot as well. The bodies of the Pauls family were found the next morning. The police had some evidence, like footprints and a bloody palm print, but since it was 1958, they needed a suspect to compare the evidence to, and they didn't have any suspects. The weapons were never recovered, but it's believed that the blunt object was quite possibly an axe, while the gun was a .22 caliber revolver, most likely a ROM RG-10, Colt style, 6-shot. A big problem with finding the suspect is that the police had no idea what the motive was. One theory was that the massacre was sexual in nature, but there was no evidence of any sexual assault on any of the victims. Robbery was another possible motive because David's keys and wallet were missing. According to author Eve Lazarus, another possibility is that the family was killed by a serial killer who was stalking the area at the time. On April 3, 1958, 3 months before the Pauls were killed, 39-year-old Evelyn Rausch was killed not far from the Pauls' house. Then, on Christmas Day, 1959, 40-year-old Lila Anderson, who also lived in East Vancouver, was murdered. Both Rausch and Anderson were killed in a similar fashion to the Pauls family. Also, just like the Pauls family, their murders are unsolved to this day. Number 1. The Children from Ohio.
Whoa. So I'm wondering, so that's 3 people that have passed in the same way. I would imagine that probably if it's in the same area and everything, I would imagine it's the same person. Yeah, the whole family wasn't alive. That scared me. It was like, oh my God, when they was talking about the little girl pulling the pants down, I'm like, no. So it wasn't sexual in nature. It was just, none of them were. I don't get it. I think that was her parents, was it not? Hey, Brittany. Awful things because the reactions are appropriate. There's real empathy. She's not getting off on the net. Oh, hell no. No. I want to help. I've always been that type of person. I don't know. Like if I'm at a party and say there's somebody there feels like they don't fit in, I don't know. I like sense that and I'll go right to them and sit with them and cheer them up. And I've always been that. I don't know. I've always wanted to help. It's same with animals. Like if there's a party, even if there's a party, I'd rather be with like kids and animals. It's just, I don't know. I guess I'm weird. Yeah, she had a luck with that power, absolutely. You think I'm helping Brenda? I hope so. She was very young. Yeah, they did look like grandparents, but I'm pretty sure they were the parents. So so the last one is the Montreal children. I don't recall this one.
November 1st, 1984 was a dark day for the city of Montreal. Maurice was kidnapped from the Santo Sud neighborhood of Montreal. Then, just after 2 boys and 12-year-old Wilton in the neighborhood of Maurice's body was found. He was found after he went missing in a vacant lot. He had been sexually to death. Wilton's body was found in the St. Lawrence River a month after he went missing. He had been stabbed and his throat was slit. Sadly, Sébastien's body has never been found. The police assumed that the same person kidnapped both Sébastien and Wilton, but they weren't sure if he also kidnapped Maurice. A big reason they weren't sure was because Wilton and Maurice were killed in completely different manners. Maurice had been beaten with a blunt object, and Wilton had been killed with a knife. For 2 decades, the murders of the boys sat cold. Then, in 2014, a documentary called November '84 was released. In the documentary, the director alleges that between 1981 and 2007, one person killed not only the 3 boys, but 5 others as well. He said that the killer was still alive and living in Trois-Rivières. The police announced that they are reopening the investigation into the murdered children. Early in the investigation, they announced that 7 murders that are covered in the documentary, which happened between 1981 and 1992, may be connected. The only murder in the documentary that they don't think is connected is the murder of Cédrica Provincier. Cédrica was just 9 years old when she was kidnapped on July 31st, 2007, from Trois-Rivières. Her body was found over 8 years later in December 2015, and at the time of this video, no one has been arrested for her murder, but the police do have a person of interest. The first case that they do think is connected is the murder of 12-year-old Tammy Leakey, who disappeared from Montreal on March 20th, 1981. Her body was found a short time later. She had been sexually assaulted, beaten, and strangled. Then, on November 1st, 1984, the 3 boys were kidnapped in Montreal. 8 months later, on June 5th, 1985, at about noon, 5-year-old Denis Roux Bergevin was kidnapped from his front yard in Montreal. His body was found 3 days later. There were signs of sexual assault, and he had been beaten with a blunt instrument. On January 20th, 1990, Pascal Poulin was kidnapped outside of a friend's home in Montreal. His body was found the following day on a riverbank. He had been sexually assaulted and stabbed multiple times. Finally, on March 7th, 1992, Pierre went missing while visiting some family in the Montreal suburb of Laval. Her body was found the next day, dumped beside some train tracks. Like 3 of the other known victims, she had been beaten with a blunt instrument. Also, just like the other victims who were found, she had been sexually assaulted. Not long after the investigation into the child murders was reopened in 2016, the police announced that they had a suspect in the murder of Denis Roux Bergevin. It was a man named Jean-Baptiste Deschenaux. Deschenaux had been convicted of murdering a 7-year-old girl in the Quebec City area in 1974. He sexually assaulted her and then beat her in the head with a hammer. He was released from prison in 1983 and he moved to Montreal. In 1993, Deschenaux was arrested for assaulting another girl, and while he was incarcerated, he was questioned about Denis' murder. He was asked to take a polygraph test, and he agreed. The night before he was supposed to take the polygraph test, he killed himself in his holding cell. He left a suicide note, and he did not claim responsibility for any of the murders. Since he is the strongest suspect in one murder, he may also be responsible for 5 of the 6 other murders. The only kidnapping murder that he is definitely not responsible for is that of Tammy Leakey. She was killed in 1981 while Deschenaux was still in prison. Sadly, that means there's more than one child killer in Montreal who has yet to face justice in this lifetime. Thanks a lot for watching this week's video. Hopefully you found it interesting. If you did, please give us a
That fucking pissed me off. Of course he unalived himself, probably because he's the one that did all of it, except for that one poor girl. Oh, I hate cases like that. Sorry, guys, I didn't know that was good. That's crazy. The hell? Oh my god. Into the Killing. Oh, I watched that show. Unsolved Cases of Stalking. Unsolved Mass Murders Part 2. It is awful, so that means... Hi, Renelle. Yeah, we're good. We're just trying to cover these Canadian cases. They're all unsolved, and the last one that we just watched is hard. I do believe, though, that the one that, the one did, who unalived himself, I do believe he was the one that did most of it, and then they just don't know who the other one is because he was in prison at the time when that one girl Wow. But I've never seen anything else like on the internet or anything about that, really, any of these cases. Like Canadian crimes are not really covered at all on YouTube. So I'm trying to bring light onto that. I just don't like how this channel here, it's a great channel. And they don't really cover Canadian cases either, except for this one. And I'm just like, well, you need to turn the comments on, because what if somebody out there knows something? You know what I mean? And like I said, just to leave an anonymous tip and say, hey, I know this or I know that, or who knows, they could be the missing link, the missing key. I really wish they'd turn them on, those comments on. Oh, Stella. I know I'm going to keep covering Canadian true crime, especially the unsolved cases. I would love to get some help with that. I was actually thinking, because they're pretty awesome around here, the OPP. I've got OPP around here. I don't have the RCMP. I've got the OPP stuff down the road from me. So I don't know. I want to take a trip up there one time and just ask them or tell them what I do and just say that I'm interested in covering cases that need help. Who knows? Tell me what I'm allowed to know and feature a case, and hopefully we'll get something out of it to help, you know? I would love that. Like, I agree with, there's some creators that do true crime, and I love them for it. They do a really good job. And then there's some where they go to the crime scene, or they're sometimes, hey, Sayla. No, I know it's been hell for you. Was it really? It was this week? I'm sorry, girl. I'm glad you're here. No, I know that you've been going through a lot, and I've told my subs to Sayla that you are going through some things, and you'll be back when you can. If they don't want comments on, at least give information on who to contact with the information. Exactly. And I'm going to go back and look. I don't see anything like that. It just says subscribe, Facebook, Twitter, sources, and picture credits, music credits. That's it. They don't have anything. And the comments are turned off. That's another good channel, Express. Yeah, there's nothing here. That sucks. Oh, good. That's great. That's awesome, Sayla. That must be a big relief considering everything else going on, right? I'm just going to take a peek. Oh, he is, his last name's I loved a girl, named Barbara Brodkin in Ontario. She was in Toronto when he did it. It was a 1993 case, and it's finally being solved now. And he was a teacher with 8 counts of SA. Imagine that. Disgusting. He shouldn't have even been allowed out. So that was her first cousin, of Barbara's first cousin. He came on and said that he was thankful for everyone who helped to get him. It just makes me mad that he was a freaking teacher. People are supposed to trust, kids are supposed to trust them, right? And then I find out that he's got 8 counts of SA. That is insane. Yeah, oh crap. Oh no, are you sick, Brittany? I'm sorry. I'm gonna see how many, or just see what cases in Ontario at least. Maybe I can get help in the police department. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if I can or not. I'm gonna try. freezing in here all of a sudden. There's 9 right now to this day. There's got to be more than that. Toronto's huge. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh. You're a sweetheart. Oh, I'm too sweet. Yeah, a lot of people around here have been feeling like these ghosts freak me out. My dog's like, what? Oh, no worries, Dad. Okay, I'm going to see what there is. I don't know. I want to look into it and just see. Yeah, she had one good thing happen for her today. Selah did. It'll get better, I promise, Selah. It has to. It always does. Oh, first thing I seen, design for bunions. No thanks. Do they read my mind? Do they know I hate feet? So 9 unsolved Toronto cold cases. That remain a mystery to this day. These apparently are some of the city's most puzzling cold cases. Maybe later. Abby Newfield. Toronto has a heavy stack of cold cases. Today, there are 612 unsolved murders in the police database. I was going to say there's a lot more than 9, dating all the way back to 1959. Many of them involve victims of gun violence, which has been an ongoing problem in the city for many years. Out of several hundred unsolved cases, they're remarkably puzzling and interesting. One of the victims is a child of a prominent Toronto activist whose oldest child was murdered on a separate occasion. Another was at a house party with 100 guests at the time of his murder, and yet the trail went cold. Really? Here's a handful of Toronto's most mysterious cold cases. Sharmini Annabelle. She was 15 years old when she went out on Saturday, June 12, 1999. She was last seen leaving her home at approximately 9 a.m. In October 1999, her remains were found buried at Finch East Park. Police have yet named a suspect. So they got nothing. Holly Ann Painter. That name sounds familiar. Holly Ann Painter was murdered in 1995. She disappeared on Monday, June 26, and was last seen in a car with 2 other individuals. 18-year-old Painter was never seen again after entering the car, and police now believe she's deceased. He looks familiar as well. He was only 18 years old at the time of his death. On November 11, 2009, the Toronto Star describes him as being a victim in the wrong place at the wrong time. He died ushering his friends to safety. That's why. During a shooting at a music studio. To this day, Toronto police don't know who took his life. None of that. Yeah, I said thank you, Teresa. I said thank you right now. I was craving a fried egg sandwich, so I had one. Now I want another, but I'm absolutely full. God, things are going good. Yes, it's getting better for sure. My son came home and I'm so happy. I know, I'm happy for you too, Sayla. Oh, no worries, Teresa. It is unreal, Brenda. It really is. I mean, like I said, if I can help, I'd love to. I just don't know like how much I'm allowed to know, like especially if something's unsolved. I guess they can, well, if they tell the public the gist of it, right? They can tell me. I can get photocopies of stuff and I can help that way. Most gun solved and never ever get found. They do. I check the missing children of Canada all the time. It's always the same ones. It's sad. "19-year-old Tina Picolis, I think, was found inside the Comfort Hotel at 445 Rexdale Boulevard on May 29, 2008, but no one knows how she ended up there. She was alive and suffering from medical trauma when police arrived, but was later pronounced dead. There's still no information about what happened to her." Wow. That's sad. Tristan Wright. I don't want to scroll past his face too much, or any of them for that matter. He died during a house party with 100 other people in attendance, and yet no one knows who unalived him. He was 23 years old at the time of his death, which took place on February 17, 2008. Carmen Rashid Atta I think. He was shot outside his apartment building on Sunday, December 23, 2007 at about 2:30 p.m. He was 29 at the time of his death. He was one of two sons of prominent Toronto activist Patricia Winter, who co-founded United Mothers Opposing Violence Everywhere. Winter's oldest son was also a victim of a homicide. This is why I won't go to Toronto. It's so dangerous. Patricia Lupton. Oh, this is an older one. Patricia Lupton is the oldest Toronto Police Service cold case. Patricia was only 12 when she was discovered in medical distress on the side of the road on Monday, March 9th, 1959. Lupton was pronounced dead on the scene and was last seen alive en route to Kennedy Park Plaza sometime after 5:30 p.m. Almost 60 years later, and no one knows what happened to her. But there was 9. Wow. She's 12? Jeez. I miss you too, Sayla. Thank you, Brittany. Unsolved unalive cases in Canada. I'm still like, even with the Highway of Tears, there's so many victims. There's so many. It's not even just Indigenous women; it's Indigenous men as well. There's so many. It's unbelievable. I've been told that there is a victim of unaliving whose name alone will get one banned from sites on the internet. I have no idea who it is. No one I know knows. If I find out, I'll definitely tell. Really? I wonder what? That's crazy. Thanks, Brittany. Appreciate that. It is Estella. Yeah, I agree. She is pretty. Hi, Benita. Hello, Benita's husband. No, they don't care about Indigenous peoples. No. They don't care about any of us, but especially Indigenous people. I thought it was just women that were missing, missing women and unalived women. And It's not. The other, the one live I did about Indigenous women, there was the highway tiers I did, as well as a map of actual missing men all around Canada. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was just in the British Columbia area. It's horrible. It is sad, especially when just now, it's 2017, they finally put transportation on the highway of tears so that no one hitchhikes. So this has been happening since, oh, what was it, the 70s, if not earlier? The 60s. I think it was the 60s. So Indigenous women have been missing all along that damn highway since then, and you're telling me it took them 2017 to finally put transportation on that friggin' road? That's some bull right there. Yeah, yeah, you're obviously more say they were hard ones, but they needed to be told. It is really sick how they're treated. My son keeps poking his head out, and he's like, just like his mother, always hungry. Yeah, in the 70s. I don't understand that. Like, exactly. Like, why the hell would you wait until 2017 to put transportation services there? It doesn't make sense to me. That pisses me off, like, a lot. It should have been done in the 80s or the 70s, you know? Like, I don't get it. Are you comfortable? I think the worst part is that people don't expect anything more. They just let it go. You're right, Deb. That's exactly right. They expect it. And same with what was it? Like, even like for the US, the Green River killer, right? He went for prostitutes. And because of that, no one gave a shit. Same with the Canadian guy, Robert Picton. He did the same thing, and no one gave a shit. Not at all. Even when one of those women went into the police station with the handcuffs only on the one wrist, okay? Go in, should himself. He tried to kill her. And the police went to his house, and this guy, he was called, oh my God, the pig farmer. He would feed his victims to the pigs. I spent time with Indigenous people in Montana and Alaska, and it had a huge positive influence on my life. The philosophy and stories they've shared with me are really deeply enriching. Right? I totally agree. You know what? Speaking of Indigenous people, so about 10-minute drive away from me, there is a house, and they house Indigenous people, men and women from where was it? Yellowknife, Yukon, somewhere in Canada, anyways. They're Indigenous people with disabilities, so they live here now. There's about, it's like a group home, so there's about, I think, 6 or 7 of them right now there, and every time I go to Tim Hortons, they love Tim Hortons coffee. So it's like every time I go to Tim Hortons, it's crazy because they're always there, right? Like their workers will come in, and I don't know them, but I know them to see them because I see them all the time. So I'm always talking to them. And the one guy's new. He comes up to me, he puts his arm on my shoulder while I'm waiting in line. He's like, how's it going? I'm like, great. How are you? I look around. I'm like, okay, there's your worker. So you are part of the crew. So I'm just talking to him. And he offers me a job, but he's the client. So I'm laughing. I'm like, oh yeah. He goes, no, you should work there. I think you'd be really good. You're pretty. You'd like it. I'm just laughing. And then his worker come over and she's like, no, really, you should work there. $150,000 a year. Just please, we need you. And I'm like, oh my God, is it that like stress? I'm like, all I have is a high school degree. I took some courses here and there, but like I have no, you know what I mean? Like I have no knowledge of that or anything. And I don't know. She's like, nope, you don't need that. You graduated. That's awesome. And she's like, yeah, $150,000 a year. I was like, really? Huh. What am I waiting for? Right? I don't drive. And that's a necessity. That's the problem. You watch the earth being created. They go after who they know they can get away with. Yeah. Like the man going after black prostitutes. He was called the Grim Creeper. Really? I'm a better person because of it, and to think our governments care nothing for their culture and philosophy, and in fact abuse and ignore them. Holy shit, it's so evil. It is evil, and especially what they did to the children being taken out of their homes. You're a dirty old woman. My great grandmother was 100% Cherokee, and she grew up on a reservation as a child. Oh no, and a young woman. But then married my grandfather. They had 10 children. Good for them. I live in Canada, and if you will listen, the Indigenous or Indian people, they have been here forever. Yeah. When I was a child, I was horribly aged. I don't even remember most of my childhood. But I remember one night when my parents were out drinking with their friends at Lakota, a man said he'd stay with me. Really? I'm sorry that happened to you, Stella. You have dreams about that? $450 a year, you can easily Uber. No, I mean, I have to drive them around to their appointments and for coffee at Tim Hortons. And they go out for dinner every Friday night, I believe. It's crazy because they all know me. I dated a guy who was working there a while ago, like years ago. That's why I stopped dating, was because of him. So I don't really want to work with him, but I need the money. You're going to Montana for a couple weeks? Oh, it just keeps colder in here. I don't get it. Oh yeah, my house is by. I don't even know who that man was, but they told him I'd be okay on my own. I was 5. He said no, she's more interesting anyway. I'll just stay and talk to her. My mom told me some stories, a couple of them anyways, like from her growing up in Toronto, and they're not very nice. She watched her best friend use a shotgun to his head. She met Paul Bernardo as she was the manager at I always forget the name. It's not Tim Hortons. The country style. That was it. They should be protected. Absolutely, 100%. I just know I'll never go back to Toronto again. Nowhere near there. Exactly, Dad. Do you guys have any I don't know, I'd say I'm trying to stay away from the US cases, especially the ones that are new or all over the place right now, because they're getting enough attention from channels. I want to do the ones that aren't getting the recognition that they deserve. So if you guys, I don't know, see anything or hear anything about unsolved cases for Canada that I haven't heard of, let me know. I'll do it. He sat with me all night and talked to me like I was a person. He was the first adult who ever did that. He was wonderful and literally my only positive role model as a child. That's sad but amazing at the same time. I'm gonna do a live video and the sick stuff they were trying to push with BDSM and really okay. Good, Taylor. I'm glad. What kind of bark is that, Jack? So was I, Deb. It's like whew. I was afraid at first, and then I realized no. I think she's just talking about one. Like yeah, he was a guy, but he had brains, and he was like teaching her and stuff. That's what I thought at first too, and then when I was reading more comments, I'm like, no. Canada does seem like it does not have as many serial killers as America. It doesn't. No. We've caught the last two. Like I'm involved. The last two that I know of have been caught, and that was the two cases. This one here, the Mandela one, and the other one, or the other two. Yeah. The last three I covered. No, I don't think they do. Like, I don't know of any active serial killers right now. I do know there's a lot of unsolved cases, and there's a lot, even just in Toronto alone. There was, what, 619, they said? That's insane. I'm freezing. Oh my God. I'm going to get a blanket on or something. That's terrifying, leaving a 5-year-old unattended versus leaving a 5-year-old alone with an adult. That man seems really interesting. A 5-year-old girl both seem. Yeah, they both do. Yeah, they both do, Estella. All right, I think I'm going to end it here. I'm going to go make something to eat for me and my son. Oh, before I go, what the hell can I do with cranberries? Fresh cranberries. I've got a bag of them. I bought them on sale, and then I realized I don't know what the hell to do with them. I could always Google a recipe, but I want to know what you guys have done. See if anybody's cooked with besides cranberry sauce. I'm so glad I went the way I did. You have a wonderful memory in that. Yeah, me too, Deb. I don't know, I got a whole bunch of cranberries and I don't know what to do with them. I was thinking like making like a, I don't know, like a cranberry crisp or something. Cranberry salad. Ooh, with like goat cheese maybe. Spinach. Some almonds. Soup. Cranberry, what the hell's cranberry fluff? I don't know about the soup. Those things are tangy. Like a cranberry mousse. And that's awesome that he was only concerned with your safety. We have more due to mental health care, and it's easy to get a gun. Yeah, we don't have guns here except for hunting, and that's it. I think I'm gonna try salad, like a goat cheese salad with cranberry and some almonds and spinach leaves. Shut up, Estella. Ooh, Cool Whip, cranberries, and maybe that would be good. Hunting guns will still protect you. Yeah, but the thing is, if we use one to protect ourselves, apparently that's against the law. Ooh, cranberry. All right, I'm going to start drooling. I'm going to try some of these. Okay. I have a whole bunch. Yep. Chicken salad with cranberries. Ooh, that would be good too. And I do have chicken. That would be good. You need to get up and cook. Apple pie with cranberries. Yeah. Well, thank you for the ideas. Make cranberry sauce with sugar and simmer them and put on top angel food cake. Oh, hell yeah. All right, thanks, Sayla one. Pork fried rice? I don't know. I'm going to make something. I'm starving. Oh my God. My son was like, oh. That sounds really good. Okay. I'm going to try what Sayla said. And that salad. That sounds really good. Pooper. You guys have a great night. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Tomorrow night, I'll be live again at 7. And what is tomorrow? I think it's a ghost one. I should probably make a little bit of cranberry sauce too, because actually I do have a lot of chicken. Not a lot of chicken. I've got it my own turkey. I got it on sale months and months ago. So maybe I'll make some homemade cranberry sauce too. Bye, Brittany. Bye, everyone. Yeah, it's so yummy. It's what we'll do. Make something to eat. Get those cranberries going and make some stuff. Oh yeah, so tomorrow's stream is going to be about haunted hospitals. So that'll be cool. All right, you guys have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow at 7. Bye. Thank you.